Hello and welcome to another update. In this one, it will be a very short one as I'll be updating a bit on the Donetsk front line, and then I'll be looking at some combat footage. So starting out here in Vodiane, we see that the Russian forces have advanced a little bit here in the village, and that they've captured this part here to the northern part of the village, as well as here across the river line in the southern part. There's been no news about any advances here by the Pervomaisk area. However, we see that they are reaching further here to the northern part, which will allow them to advance further and flank them further northwards or by the river line here, which will give them a strong flank to advance on the Ukrainian positions in Pervomaisk front. As for the other thing, which was the combat footage we see here in Avdiivka, it has been geolocated to be around this port, and the video is as such. It was shared by Deep State Map right here. So this is a Russian column of armored vehicles moving. There's some infantry here, and they're getting shelled at. And then we see the armored column here. One of the first vehicles got hit. And then we see them moving from this column, this line, moving sideways and then forming a line here. So this is very interesting because at the start of the war, there was a video where a long Russian armored column in the north around the Kiev front was getting ambushed, and they all just panicked and stood in their places and were looking for their enemy. While here we see them reacting quickly and forming a line. And why are they forming a line? First of all, to protect the infantry. The tanks can take a shot or two, while the infantry are much more vulnerable. So they're forming a line to protect the infantry, and at the same time, they are protecting each other's weak points, for example, the tracks, which will allow them to escape in case of an assault by the Ukrainian forces or further shelling by them. The reason why we see them forming a line by the infantry is because these artillery shells come in barrages, as they can't just launch constantly. They launch and then they move to relocate. So the Russians cannot launch counter-battery strikes against them. So essentially we see them here forming a line to protect the infantry for this barrage, and then they will move into a safer position or different position, or maybe even look for the drone that is capturing the footage right now, as that will allow them to prevent the Ukrainians from launching further artillery strikes on their positions, as the Ukrainians would lose sight of them. As for the outcome of this battle, it seems that the Russians had lost multiple armored vehicles, but there's no indication of any infantry casualties, which means that most likely they sacrificed the armored vehicles for the infantry, and then they pulled back on foot. Also, it seems that the drone continued filming after the armored vehicles were destroyed. So most likely the Ukrainians found a tactic to avoid getting spotted by the Russian armored vehicles, which allowed them to continuously record the outcome of this battle, as well as keep directing the Ukrainian artillery to their positions. But yes, that is some video evidence as to the front line here in the Novobakhmutivka area. And as we can see, there's barely anything left of the village here to the northeast of Avdiivka. And that is all for this update. It's a short one, but thank you all for watching and have a great day.